coming live from the studio of Ace and the Beard.
Checking in. Yeah, I came across a interesting article, and a good theme for an episode is taking a fear such as rejection and kind of flipping it around and trying to conquer it to better yourself.
Yeah, and I think that those same principles can really be applied to really any aspect of your life. Whether it be maybe you want to ask for that promotion or even ask that cute girl out. I think it goes beyond just the article and flows into your life.
Yeah, of course. So the reason why this one's interesting is it's a NPR story, and the guy got dumped by his wife, so he realized he was in a kind of funk or a depression, and he realized the root of it was his fear of rejection. So he decided to make a little game out of it, and every day set up situations where he would get rejected. For instance, he'd walk up to someone, ask for a piece of gum, or he'd ask to borrow money or a car or a ride when he knew it would, be shot down. Goal was just to get over that little sting, that initial fear of like, oh, what is this person going to think? What are they going to say? Like, they're not going to like me. So it's kind of like that exposure therapy kind of thing where you fear something and you throw yourself into it.
So he realized that he had this fear of rejection when he was kind of trying to get over his wife, or was it something that was going on all along?
Well, I would assume it would be all along, but it maybe got, pointed out a little more when he went through this hard time. It was hard to deal with, hard to cope, and so he just decided to confront what he perceived as a big fear. I think that can be applied to many things, like we were saying in the beginning. And I kind of like the idea that he does these little games, every day he tried to get rejected. If we just take a quick glance at this, he's like, I had to get at least rejected once every day by someone. And like a funny game that I play, like for instance, I go to the grocery store, I'm like, okay, I got to make the cashier laugh. So I'll say something goofy. I make an observation about the store or something like that. One day, I went and there's this guy, kind of slumpy guy, tall, a little overweight, and we were just kind of chit-chatting a little bit. The bag girl comes up and starts bagging it. I thought it was kind of funny because, she put all the bags real strategically, real nicely aligned, like it was like an art piece, right? So I kind of made a joke about that, and like the slubby guy, made a smart ass remark and kind of rolled his eyes, but I didn't let it bother me. I just kept going. I knew I made someone else happy by making a little, goofy comment about what they were doing, like an observation. I guess what matters is, you want to try to put yourself out there a little bit, and not everyone's going to like it, but, what does matter if, you find the people that do appreciate it.
Yeah, I think, kind of to build off that point, I think that when people do have that fear of rejection and they kind of worry, like, oh man, what's that other person going to think? I think it's important to sort of change that mindset and flip it and think that that person's not thinking anything of at all of it. So what, you get rejected, what's the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to say no for whatever reason it is, and they're going to forget about it too. You might run into them again at the store, going off of your example or wherever, and they're not going to look at you and be like, oh man, look at that sucker, I rejected him because
Yeah, what a
he asked me
freak.
for a piece of gum, or he asked me some question and I didn't know and I totally rejected him, and what a sucker. No one's gonna think like that. I mean,
Right.
I mean, if someone asked me something, or if I had to reject somebody for whatever request they might have had, I don't think anything of it. I don't look down on that person.
I don't want to say it's like an arrogance thing, but it is kind of funny to think like, oh, like you were so important, they're gonna take note of it, when in all
Mm.
reality, the person has a million things on their mind, you have a million things on your mind. It's not like it's written in the history books or something.
Thinking along those lines is that I remember there was this chick at the gym. She was a nice girl. She was a friend of a friend, and she had come over and asked some advice for an exercise. And the form's a little weird. I mean, I think it was like a bent over row or something where your ass is sticking out. And she was like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. Like, what are people gonna think when they see me doing that?" And I was like, I mean, my response was like, "All right, do you remember what everybody did today? Like, what their routine was while you were here?" And she's like, "No." I was like, "Well, exactly. No one's gonna pay attention to your
Right.
routine either."
Unless some creepers in the back with an iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, lots some creepers over there on the treadmill, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, he's not gonna say anything anyway,
Yeah,
so
I
who
know. You,
cares, you
you
know?
can't let creepers rule your life.